you work very well in companies and helping them save money and all that kind of stuff because you're able to lead cross-cultural teams, like different
Yeah.
cultures from different areas and whatnot. So when you're in the Spanish group, obviously you're gonna thrive easily because you speak the
Yes.
language and whatnot. How about the teams that you don't speak the language on? How do you navigate through that and still make that team like very, very successful and cohesive?
Oh, absolutely. I can give you examples of actually, you probably can relate my time in China. So I spent about 3 years in China. I set up 3 joint ventures out there and went back and forth and met some really awesome people there in China. It was 3 different locations for the 3 different joint ventures. But there, you're right. I was teaching them about our operational excellence strategies. We're developing and rolling out the Honeywell operating system there. But as I was doing that, it was different than what I was doing in my maquiladoras in Mexico, right? So first of all, I had a translator because obviously I do not speak Chinese. Mandarin was not in my vernacular. So the translator was with me. So Susan and I, she gave herself an American name, maybe to make it easier on me. I'm not sure. But we bonded. I'm like, look, Susan, this is what I'm going to present. And I would show her the content and the slides beforehand. And it goes, this is what I need them to walk away with. And if you see that we're not getting there, because obviously we're just looking for facial expressions, body language, because but if you see that they're a little puzzled or I'm going too fast or it's confusing them, just pause, take time out and let me know because it's important that we understand it, right? So Fong, I will say that those sessions probably took about twice as long, but it was totally worth it, right? Because I was looking for understanding. I was looking for their body language. And if they gave me some puzzled face, Susan would just call a timeout. We'd pause and I would explain it carefully. And then Susan would explain it in Mandarin, right? So it was a partnership that I had with my translator. You know, we bonded for several years, but it was important for me for them not only to understand it, but to have fun with it, to enjoy it, right? Now, so much so that we were going back and forth to the US and China. So I still remember this day when one of my teams from China came to the US. We were in Phoenix, and I remember being in the conference room and we're going over the operating system. I was showing you some of the production lines that we had set up there. But the leader from their team, he goes, Griselda, I understand all this. I really like what we see. We can totally do it in China. I'm like, great. Nice to know, Sam. And goes, but one question. I said, what? He goes, could you take us to the Grand Canyon tomorrow? And I was like, yes. It told me that they trusted me. We were bonding. They had understood all of the concepts. They were ready to implement. And I know they're going to, they were going to dazzle me with their implementation. But all they wanted was to go to the Grand Canyon and for me to take them. So I'm
Mhm.
like, yay, I earned their trust. They want to go. Of course, we took them. We had a wonderful time. But you just have to relate in their language, right? Obviously, I was not going to, learn Mandarin overnight or over a few weeks. But I partnered with Susan. She helped me out, and the people appreciated that.
Did you have to interview a few people for the translator? Did you test the translator to make sure you have another translator to make sure that they're actually translating the same thing that you want to express?
Um, Actually, no. It's a very simple. They were part of the company, and she had already been translating for others. So it was part of what she did, right? That was her title. That's what she was doing. So I trusted that she was really good at it. Never had an issue, right? Whatever it is that I was saying. Sometimes this happened. Sometimes I would go through and I would present, a slide or 2 slides, and I would speak kind of, lengthy, but that was my error, right? Because I had to go in small bits. But anyway, so I would present, I don't know, let's say 5 minutes worth, 5 to 8 minutes. And then Susan will come up and would say like 1 minute. And I'm like, Susan, I said a lot more than that. But anyway, she would simplify the concept, goes, I know, but you got a little bit excited and expanded on that. I just summarized it for you. I'm like, okay, perfect. As long as they get it, I'm fine. But no, we never struggled with that. And I checked for that with their understanding, right? Obviously, it was a session of we learn it
Yeah.
and then we go apply it. And if in the application something was off, I knew that I had done something wrong in the classroom, right? So we would just go about it that way. But it takes a little longer, but it's totally worth it once you get to know each other and you develop that trust and camaraderie. And then you go do it. And those people did some amazing things in the factory, Fong. It was phenomenal. I was floored with, the results that they were getting in both countries, right? In China and Mexico and in other places.
Mm.
But anyway, you just kind of have fun with it and you accept the fact that it's going to go a little slower. So instead of a week in China, it's going to be 2 weeks or whatever. But you make it happen and you make it fun for them.